He was intelligent, curious, stubborn.
Very proud of what he and his family have achieved.
This is my granddad. I kept saying that I was going to make a film about him, but I never knew what to say or where to start. Born April 22nd, 2020, he died from COVID-19. And I realised that the time to make his film is now, and I guess the best place to start is the beginning.
Dennis John Janes was born on the 2nd of January 1928.
A late addition to a working class family in Bristol.
So he spent quite a lot of his childhood in hospital and missed a lot of school from it. I think he was always desperate to learn things. He always wanted to know about stuff, and so he got into technical school.
And then the war started when he was 11. He left school when he was 14 or 15.
And then he got his dream job, which was an apprenticeship at the General Post Office, and working on the telecoms side of things. He was told he had to go on a project to go down to American bases on the south coast. His parents were told some cock and bull story about why critically important that nobody got wind of what was actually happening. And so he went and put in these communication systems in American bases on the south coast. He had no idea what it was all for. And then D-Day happened and they heard about it on the radio, and he realised that was what he'd been doing it for, so that the bases could communicate to each other during D-Day. After the Second World War, he had to do compulsory national service, so he did 2 years, I think, in Canterbury and Catterick. And there was a scheme to get the people who'd done national service to go to Polytechnic, so Grandad got a place at Borough Poly in London to do an electronics engineering course.
So in that period, all these stories are about riding back and forth between Bristol and London on his motorbike.
I think it was before this that he'd actually met Grandma, and I think it was at a cricket match. And there's a 4 years difference, so apparently that was a bit off. Grandma and Grandad got married in June in 1952.
In what he describes as my church, Mary Redcliffe.
Yeah. Is that the big one?
Sorry? Yeah, that's the big one right down at Redcliffe.
Grandad got his dream job of designing radar.
And he worked on 3 kind of different radar.
Green Archer was the first one, which I think used to just be stuck in a field. And then he moved on to Cymbeline, I think, and then Searchwater, which was on Nimrod, RAF Nimrods.
Him and Grandma, they had a pact, didn't they?
Yes, so she loved dancing and he loved badminton, and they agreed that they would try each other's hobby. I never saw Grandma pick up a badminton racket, and I never saw Grandad move his feet except on a tennis court. So, they did join the Wine Society together. That was possibly one of the most mortifying moments of my life, when I had to go and pick them up from a Wine Society Christmas do, and they were pissed. They denied it to their dying day.
And the sad thing about radar is that the stuff they did was really, really clever. I mean, I don't understand it, and I never tried to understand it, but it was obviously very clever. But he could never tell anybody about that because it was all subject to the Official Secrets Act. So he used to tell me and Mum, Helen, because apparently we weren't subject to the Official Secrets Act. But one of the nicest things for me was that when I was at university, I was in the University Air Squadron. We went to RAF Kinloss, and I did some flying there, but I also got to fly in Nimrod, which was the aircraft that had the Searchwater in. So I actually saw Dad's radar in action,
cool.
which was that was lovely. It was after that he wasn't really doing any engineering, or he was just doing project management. I think that's why he was quite glad to leave EMI.
So he like retired, obviously, and
Yeah, he started wood turning and then he moved on to metal turning. I have no idea what he intended to do with the metal lathe. This is where I think that Grandad had started to develop dementia, because I don't think he ever really made use of that metal lathe, because I don't think he was able to understand how to use it properly.
So I'd come to Australia more to see you.
Yeah, so I don't know how many times they came. A lot of times.
Grandma died in 2009,
Yes.
I think it was.
When I think back on it, it was Mum talking to me on the phone, and and Dad would say hello at the beginning, and he would say goodbye at the end. But it was really me and Mum talking all the time. So obviously, when Mum died, then that made the whole thing very different for both of us.
It used to upset me quite a lot that he never talked about Grandma. He would talk about my grandma, so his mum, but the biggest memory that seems to have lost was from finishing national service, so we'll go to poly, but working at EMI all the way up to present day, which is sad, isn't it? That's the bulk of his life.
He had some funny stories that he used to tell. That's the interesting side of Alzheimer's.
And there was the one on D-Day, wasn't it? How he was part of D-Day, which he was, but where he was taken in a submarine across to the beach. This is before D-Day. Across to a beach, and he got in a rowing boat and rowed onto the beach and stole a radar machine and somehow got it to England. I think, did I ask the question, well, what they put the radar in the submarine? I said, and what did you do with the boat? Did you stick it on have a roof rack or something? And told me not to be so stupid.
Obviously, I was aware of what the situation in nursing homes was, which is essentially, they live or die. And then Helen, I think, talked to the nurse, and the nurse said that she thought that it probably wasn't COVID because it was a throaty, a phlegmy cough and whatever. And I was going, oh bloody hell! I wish they could take it, do a test, and then the next day, I think the government changed their mind and said they could test it. So the next day, they do a test, and the next day I find out that it's positive. And I went, I really wish they weren't doing testing to actually be able to talk to him on the night before he died. And it was very confronting because he wasn't. It was kind of like just a face staring back at you, and it's really hard to know what to say. And you kind of want to say, as we all did, how much we love him and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, do you try and say, come on, Dad, you can fight this, when you know that that's not going to happen?
I think it's a really strange time to be grieving, because I don't want to feel special because my dad has died. I also think, and I'm worried that you haven't grieved.
For me, it's because it wasn't like a sudden loss. Oh, now suddenly I can't see him because I couldn't see him for 5 weeks before that. I don't know how long it will take for it to be like, oh, okay, I'm never going to see him again.
Yeah, I think we just have to package it up in a little box and say, okay, we lost our dad, our granddad. And just do things like this.